Great things happen on the other side of our comfort zones. I've talked about this before on the podcast, and I believe it wholeheartedly. Over the course of my life, I've constantly pushed my own boundaries and pushed past my own comfort zone. Doing so has helped me reach new levels in life, ingrain resiliency into my character, and have a deep level of self-trust. I consider myself a capable person who can accomplish anything I set out to do. That's not to say things always go as planned or even work out. They don't. But every time I've gone outside my comfort zone, new levels await. In this episode, I'm sharing 5 times I pushed past my comfort zone and reached new heights in my life. As I mentioned, I've talked about getting outside your comfort zone on this podcast before, and I want to make sure you check out episode 88, How to Get Comfortable with Being Uncomfortable. If you struggle with taking risks, believing in yourself, or getting out of your comfort zone, that episode will be transformative. I will make sure to link to it in the show notes. So let's talk about the 5 times I pushed past my comfort zone and reached new levels. First one, going full-time with City Girl Savings. Now, you probably knew this one would be on the list, but let me tell you, this was one of the best things I ever did. Not just because I'm living out my passion and purpose every day, but because I'm making a living from it. Had I never left my stable, high-paying corporate job, which I was growing and thriving in, I would never know this life that I currently have. I wouldn't have known how important time freedom truly is to me. I wouldn't have known what I was capable of doing for myself. I wouldn't have known some of the amazing women whose lives have changed because of my money coaching. And I think that is probably, those reasons I listed are probably the most important when I think about how I pushed past my comfort zone, how I entered into the unknown and really went all in with City Girl Savings. Now, I have mentioned this on the podcast before, but I started seriously considering running City Girl Savings full-time back in 2018. But I didn't make that move until mid-2021. And for a good 2 years, I wasn't so sure I could do it. I was scared, petrified of failing. I was scared of having to go back into the corporate world. I was scared of wiping out my savings. Like once I decided I wanted to do City Girl Savings full time, all of these fears came into me. Like, what if I can't make it? What if I fail? What if I end up having to go back to corporate? What if I need to get a job? What if it doesn't make money? All of these negative thoughts and fears really consumed me for quite some time. However, here I am 3 years later, and none of those fears came true. I don't want to say they were useless fears because they weren't. They helped me put things in place to make sure those things wouldn't be an easy reality. So those fears helped me realize that we can create 1,000 scenarios in our heads about how things will turn out, but we'll never know what can happen and what actually will happen until we take action. And I think that was such an important realization for me because being the Virgo analytical person I am, I literally can create so many different scenarios in which a situation can end. And the thing is, there's only going to be one scenario when it all is said and done. So I have wasted so much mental energy and stress and anxiety on figuring out how this is going to go. And it only went the way it was supposed to go. And I wouldn't have known that and I wouldn't have gone through it unless I went through it. I hope that makes sense. I know it can be like a hard concept to wrap your head around, but my entire point is if you don't move forward, if you don't take action, if you don't venture into the unknown, you don't know what's on the other side of that. You don't know what can actually happen. So I now am a full-time business owner with time freedom and modest financial freedom. This is a level I dreamed of reaching, but wouldn't have if I didn't get outside of the safety of my corporate paycheck comfort zone. So this was definitely one of those situations where getting out of my comfort zone, venturing into the unknown, working through the fears and anxieties that I had with moving forward was absolutely worth it. And it got me to an entirely new level. The next time I pushed past my comfort zone was actually recently, and it was when I invested in my second home in Palm Springs. So back in 2020, I was planning on attending my first FinCon conference in Long Beach. And if you don't know what FinCon is, it is a financial influencer, financial creator conference. So financial influencers, financial content creators, financial coaches, anyone in the finance industry comes to this conference, and there are a lot of different brands there. So banks and marketing companies. And it's basically a conference like for financial professionals. And I was planning on attending my first FinCon back in 2020 in Long Beach. I had purchased my ticket a year in advance when they went on sale because I told myself, I am going to go. I'm going to make this happen. Let me just buy the ticket now so I know it's it's going to work out. Well, what I didn't know back then was that COVID was going to hit. And of course it did. And the lockdown hit. And the conference was canceled. They were postponing it till the next year. And instead of canceling my entire trip, right? Like everything was kind of centered around me going to Long Beach and participating in the conference. But mind you, I went to school in LA. So there are things I could still do in LA. So instead of canceling everything, my entire trip, I actually shifted my trip to split time between LA and Palm Springs. So I have been going to Palm Springs since I was 19 years old. So this is a long time. And I've always loved it. So anytime I have the opportunity to get out there, I take it. And the crazy thing about this time going to Palm Springs was that it was my first time traveling there alone, just to work and live in the environment. So I was going to spend a week in LA, but I decided to do like 3 or 4 days in Palm Springs, and it was like the work week. So I was like, I am going to be in Palm Springs. I'm going to be in the environment that I see myself in long term. Like I've wanted a second home out there. So like, let me go and put myself in that environment and see what it feels like. And my ultimate goal for that was just to manifest a life that involved me spending time out there in my own place on a regular basis. I stayed at the Avalon, so cute, the most adorable hotel, by the way. So the scenery, the environment, the setting, everything was perfect. And I just worked and stayed in the area and went to coffee shops, grabbed dinner, had room service. Like I lived in Palm Springs for 3 days and it was amazing. So earlier this year, when an opportunity came up to purchase a second home that could actually double as an investment property, I took the leap. I have been saving for this particular goal for years. I know I talk about it a lot on the show. So you could easily say it wasn't a huge push past my comfort zone, but you'd be wrong. Not only is buying a house a huge financial investment from the down payment to the closing costs, but it also required me to have a mortgage, which is very uncomfortable for me. I already have a mortgage with my fiance at home. So having a second mortgage, that's a pretty big thing. So in addition to like the financial investment, another layer of anxiety comes from having a place that I can't simply drive to. Like if something goes wrong, I can't go check on it, instantly. And out-of-state property comes with its own set of maintenance requirements. And I knew this going in, but it still makes me uncomfortable. But in spite of all of that, I have an asset that can pay for itself and generate additional dividends. And I think that was my determining factor. Like this is a goal that I've always wanted. And now I'm in a position to make it happen. The perfect property that allows me to make additional funds when I'm not in the property. Like it's like now or never. And now this is a totally new level for me. And this property is 100% mine. My other rental properties are owned with my brother. This second place in Palm Springs is all mine. It's only mine. And that feels fantastic. And I'm so proud to say that I already have Airbnb and Vrbo bookings, enough to show me that this asset truly can pay for itself and even generate a profit. So had I not pushed past my comfort zone, got over the fear that comes with having another financial expense, so to speak, I wouldn't have moved forward and reached a lifelong goal of mine that I have. And I'm so glad that I did. Okay, this next time I push past my comfort zone is getting a little personal. So that alone makes me a little uncomfortable. But it was fully committing to my romantic relationship. So I'm going to be honest with you. I have had trust issues with partners, men, up until my late 20s, early 30s. And I know they stemmed from childhood and never became an issue until, my current relationship. My partner and I have been together over 13 years. So very early on in our relationship, all of my trust issues came up. I would always keep a bit of myself with past partners or past people I had dated. I never gave 100% and I never cared 100%. Now I recognize that was a way of protecting myself. It was a way of, if they do me dirty or if something goes wrong, I'll still be okay. Because I didn't go all in, I didn't give 100%. And I kept that way of operating moving into my current relationship. And my partner's name is Wes. He and I have been together since 2011. We met in our early 20s and neither of us actually expected things to go the way they did. But I gotta say, it took me nearly a decade to truly, fully, 100% commit to this relationship, to actually trust him 100% and be okay with not keeping a bit of myself. And it was hard. That's a long time to work through your issues and trust someone and not question their motives, whether you do it to their face or in your mind. But better late than never, right? And now I'm in this place where I do trust him 100%. I'm 100% committed to the relationship. We are engaged. We recently got engaged a little over a week ago, and I'm incredibly happy. And I think another thing about me, and I talked about this earlier in the episode, is that, all of the life experiences I have, putting me past my comfort zone, have built this level of self-trust. And that self-trust I have, I know that if things don't work out with Wes, I will still have myself and I'll still be okay. I can give myself 100% to a person, and if things don't work out, I can pick up the pieces and be okay again. And I don't think I knew that before or believed that before. And I also know that Wes and I are together, and I'm happy and I choose happy. We are choosing to be together. We are choosing to be committed, and I'm the happiest now because I've committed to this. It's so crazy. It's almost like I was blocking my own happiness because of my own fears and anxieties. And I thought, committing 95% was best because it felt safer, but I was keeping my own self from true happiness. So letting go, giving in, and trusting someone else fully is definitely outside of my comfort zone, but it is 100% worth being here. Having my person, my true person, brings a different level of joy and comfortability. And I would never have known if I didn't commit 100%. But I am here and I am happy and we are engaged, and it is amazing. The next time I pushed past my comfort zone was leaving home at 18 for Los Angeles. So as I've reflected on my life and the ways I've pushed past my comfort zone, I gotta admit, it was actually hard for me to add this one to the list, like leaving home at 18 for LA. It was hard for me to add this as an example of when I pushed past my comfort zone. And that's partly because it was something that I had wanted since I was little, and partly because there was so much excitement when the time came to leave. I only saw forward. I only saw the future. I didn't see backward. I didn't see what I was missing out on. I didn't see anything, that I could lose. I didn't feel like I was giving up anything or losing anything. Like, this was 100% committed all the way. I'm doing this. I can't wait. It's been years in the making. Here we go. And looking back, I didn't feel like I was giving up anything or losing anything at the time, but I realized that I did lose something. I actually did. And I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I lost time with my family. I lost regular day-to-day interactions with my mom and dad. And that is, time I would give anything back for now because, they are both deceased. So, that is something that I wouldn't know then, right? Because you don't know what the future holds. But looking back, it's definitely something that I did lose out on. But I have no regrets with leaving home at 18. I needed it. It needed to happen. Things had to go the way they went so that I could be right where I am right now. And the way I thought of my life, like the way I thought my life would look back then, is definitely not how it turned out to look now. And I'm okay with that. I've learned that happiness is not solely a destination, but the journey to wherever you're meant to be. And amazing things can still happen, even if it's not how you originally thought it would turn out. So it was definitely a huge risk to leave the comfort of home for a big city I had no experience with, but I did it with so much confidence and excitement. I love that I had that in me at the time, and I just want that same gusto for future plans. And the older I get, the more worried I get. It's really weird. I'm sure when I have kids, or if I have kids, that's going to increase even more. But I guess it just means I have a lot more to lose now. But leaving home at 18 for LA was, although it was very exciting and I was young and naive and ready to go, didn't really think anything of it, it definitely was a situation where I pushed past my comfort zone and reached new levels in life and met some amazing people along the way. The final way I pushed past my comfort zone and reached new levels is this: giving budgeting and money management an honest shot. I would not be here today recording this podcast episode had I not given budgeting and money management a true shot. City Girl Savings would not be here. Before City Girl Savings, before thoughts of being a full-time business owner, before I knew I'd even be living back in Texas, I was forced to look myself in the mirror and take accountability for all of my bad money behavior. And at the time I was young, I could have simply let everything fall apart, could have moved back home, could have, figured it out and, made my life a little bit easier, but I didn't. I wanted to make things work in California. Little did I know God had other plans, but in the moment, I vowed to do better with my money. It was not going to be easy. It was going to be uncomfortable. I was in new territory, but I was committed. And how many new levels have I reached since then? It's crazy. Had I not made that commitment, had I not made that decision to truly turn my financial habits around, I would not have everything I have now. And that's why I am such an advocate for budgeting and women managing their money. It truly, truly turned my life around. And, helping women turn their lives around steadily with finances has truly become my purpose, and I wouldn't change any of it. So all in all, committing 100% to the risk, to the things outside the comfort zone, to the opportunity of better has always led me to an amazing place. I vow to keep committing. I hope I've encouraged you to get out of your own comfort zone and see what new levels are in store for you, because there are some amazing things on the other side of your comfort zone.